Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
To our new passengers, aloha and welcome aboard.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us. This is the Gateway to the Magic. I'm Tim Scott.
I'm Bob Collar.
And we're here for episode number 103.
103. I'm very excited about this show today, Tim.
I am as well.
This is kind of a big deal.
It's a huge deal. Huge deal.
Yeah, we, as many of you do, if you drive down to Orlando or if you fly down and you stay off of Disney property, which I know a lot of folks probably don't do that, but those of you that have, and you've seen the Orlando Attractions magazine around, we have with us today one of the hosts of that show, and may I introduce her, Tim?
Please do, please.
This is probably the hardest working woman in all of Orlando. She is the co-host of Orlando Attractions Magazine, The Show, which if you haven't seen it, you got to go on YouTube and check that out. It's fantastic. She has been involved in the Disney community for a very long time, and from my understanding, a fantastic mom as well. So we would like to introduce the wonderful JeniLynn Knopp to the show.
Hey, guys. Well, that's quite the introduction. Can I keep you?
You can have them.
I think I want to wake up every morning and listening to that introduction.
I got to say, though, it pales in comparison to the introduction that Banks had to read a couple of episodes ago. So when you hijacked the script.
I do that from time to time.
Well, welcome to the show. Give us a little background on yourself, that I did not already cover.
Oh, okay. Well, my very humble beginnings begin back in Virginia when I did not live in Orlando, and I was a diehard Disney fan from very early on. And I don't know, Disney was such an important part to me, and I wanted to make sure that it was an important part to my family. So I started a blog that was about how I incorporated the Disney brand into everyday aspects of my life. So the concept of it wasn't really Disney in the parks. A lot of people were covering, Disney news, Disney in the parks. What do you do when you go to Disney? I started to talk about what do you do when you're not at Disney, because we all still love Disney even when we come home. So it was called The Disney Driven Life. That's what I named it. And it started out mainly just little cute stories about me and my family. It wasn't really a how-to site or anything like that. It was just letting people have a look at, what it was like to live in a family that was obsessed with Disney, or at least with a mother who was obsessed with Disney and was trying to cram the brand down everyone else's throat. So from there, I found a lot of people that were like me. Surprisingly enough, I thought it was kind of like a rare breed. It turns out that I'm not. So I started to connect with people that way, and from there kind of expanded the site. I got a lot of more people that started blogging and giving their points of view, and it was just really a fun ride. Eventually, I even started a webcast, a live video webcast where I had a few other co-hosts, and we would do a live show on the internet that had a chat room that went along with it. And we talked every week about a different lifestyle aspect. So, 1 week we talk about, all right, well, if you're a Disney fan, how does that translate into, your motor vehicle? What do you do with your motor vehicle? Or how do you celebrate Halloween? Or what do your date nights look like? This type of stuff. And it was a lot of fun. So that was kind of my beginning. And from there, I many years down the road, I got a DM actually from Matt Roseboom, who is in charge of Orlando Attractions Magazine, and he told me that they were revamping a show that they had, and they were looking for a female co-host. They had already had their male co-host, that's Banks Lee, and they were looking for his counterpart, and he asked me if I would be willing to come and audition for that. So, of course, I said yes. That sounded very exciting to me, and to make a very long story short, I ended up with the position, and, here I am, and I feel like I'm, on the ride of my life. It's been a great experience working on the show.
Well, you do a fantastic job at it. That's for sure. You are are you the longest running female co-host now? Because I know they went through quite a few there at the beginning of the show. But you've been there the longest, I think, haven't you?
Well, I want to say yes, but I'm not exactly sure. And then it all probably depends a little bit on how you calculate longest. We are doing a weekly show now, whereas before they had backed it down to once a month. So there may have been a female co-host that has been doing it for as long, but I'm not sure of as many episodes since we're getting close to, Banks and I are getting close to hosting our 100th episode together. It's been a little bit over a year at this point, and it's been fantastic. But don't quote me on that because I don't actually really know for sure. I'm just guessing. I'm guessing that I am.
You're allowed to guess.
It seems like it, yeah. I've been tuning in off and on for a while now, and I love the show. And I got to be honest with you though, one of the things that I do as soon as your show comes out on the episode comes out, I always go to the end.
With the bloopers. So do my children. They're always like, Mom, just skip to the end. We want to see the bloopers. Yeah. Oh, anyone who watches the show, please don't turn off the show before the end of the credits because that's when the good stuff happens.
Well, it seems like you guys have an awfully good time doing the show.
We do. We have a fantastic team. You know, it's not just Banks and I. We have, a pool of our field reporters that are just fantastic people. Some of them do other stuff with the show as well. Like Patrick's one of our field reporters, but he's also a cameraman. Anthony is a field reporter, but he is also a cameraman. Andy is a field reporter, and he writes the script. And then we have a couple others. And, it's just it's a really good team. We have a lot of fun together. We have a lot of it's kind of like a little bit of a family. We get in our little jabs every once in a while, and sometimes we have a few little tense moments, but you work it out. And in general it's all just good fun, and we really love each other.
That's excellent.
Yeah, the show's very well put together, has a lot of strong production elements in it. So you guys are doing a great job.
I agree. Matt and Jackie Roseboom are in charge of that, and they put in so much time and effort into doing this. Matt works tirelessly. He kind of works around the clock. He's really on top of things, and I was very impressed with it as well when I came into audition, and then I realized, it was a much bigger deal than what I was doing with my little webcast on Inner Mouse. They had lights and fancy cameras and camera angles and credits at the end, and I was like, whoa, this is a big stinking deal. But I think that they do a really good job with what we've got.
What would be your most memorable show so far?
Whoa. Okay. So I've had a couple of those, and I don't know that I can single one out. One that was especially fun for me actually didn't have anything to do with a theme park. Is that blasphemy?
No.
I also watch wrestling. WWE, and the WWE Performance Center opened up this past year here in Orlando, and I got to go there and tour the facility for the show and meet with some of the very famous wrestlers. Dusty Rhodes is kind of a legend in wrestling.
Wow, yes he is, yeah.
Yeah, I got to hang out with the American Dream, if I ever go once that. So, that was really memorable for me. I had a great time doing that. Another one was they took me to Weeki Wachee. I don't know how much you guys know about Weeki Wachee, but I grew up in Florida, and of course, we always traveled to Disney. Well, on those road trips, you stop at the gas stations or wherever else, and you go to the pamphlet, stand.
Yes.
And pick out all those pamphlets, especially when you're a kid, to look at. This when I was a kid, this was before iPods and DSIs or whatever these kids play with in the car. I didn't have anything like that. I just, had my Walkman. And so you get these pamphlets, so you have something to look at while you're in this very long drive. I always got the Weeki Wachee ones, mermaids. Every girl wants to be a mermaid. So I actually got to go to Weeki Wachee and be a mermaid.
Oh.
And that was a very cool experience for me, something that my grandparents and my dad were kind of excited about, because that's just a very old school attraction, one of the first attractions in Florida. So that was a really, really fun one. Of course, being at the opening for New Fantasyland, that was amazing as well. So yeah, those are probably the ones that stick out the most. Although,
that's very cool.
Well, I will say one of my favorite episodes that we did, it wasn't like it was a big deal event. Well, I guess kind of maybe, but it was an especially fun event. I got to go to IAPA for the first time this year, and that's a convention that they hold here in Orlando, and it's all about theme park stuff. So, like, if you have a theme park, you want to go to this convention because you can see the rides, the new rides that are available, either for purchase or simple things like, what kind of new forks can you get for your theme park? What kind of cup holders can you get for your theme park? So it's like it covers everything: food, rides, food and beverage, whatever. And it was a lot of fun. I hosted that one with Patrick, and we had a good time playing off of each other on that one.
Was there anything that you saw that just kind of blew your mind that you hope comes to one of the parks in Orlando?
Well, not in Orlando. The show actually flew me out to California this year, and I got to experience Disneyland and California Adventure for the first time. And that blew my mind because that has always been on my bucket list. And I didn't actually know if I was ever going to get to go out to California. So the show made that possible. We went out there for D23, and then we were also able to film 2 episodes, one in each park of Disney. And that was a really big treat for me. I was glad to, as a Disney fan, you always, Walt is a big deal, obviously. And these were the places where, Disneyland was where he actually walked. And so that's just a really neat experience to be able to go to the place where it all actually started.
Yeah, I had the same experience a couple of years ago when I had gotten back there as an adult. It's a very special feeling being there.
It is. It sounds very cliche. I know everyone says it, but everyone says it because it's true. It is a neat experience to know that he had actually been there.
Right.
You all know what I'm saying. I don't have to explain.
Absolutely.
Would you recommend a regular Disney fan go to like D23?
A regular fan.
It's like someone who'd be listening to our show or watching your show.
I might get flamed for this, but I'm going to say no.
Ooh.
Like if you're just an average Disney fan, this might not be the event for you because these are hardcore people that go and you have to stand in really long lines and it can be very tiring and exhausting. But if you're a hardcore Disney fan, definitely yes. So I guess it kind of depends on where you fall on the scale. I'm not sure that someone who's kind of, blasé about Disney would really get that much out of it. In fact, it might make them cranky because it can be an exhausting experience. It's 3 days of a lot of people standing in line. And if you're not actually into the topics that are being talked about in the panels and the seminars, then I'm not sure if somebody would find it worthwhile. But if you do go, make sure you go to the parks. That's for everybody.
Absolutely, yeah. One of Tim's bucket lists is the backstage tour in California.
Yeah, the Adventures by Disney.
Oh, yeah. I haven't done that, so I can't advise you on whether it's worthwhile or not. That's going to be on my bucket list.
Have you done any of the backstage tours at any of the theme parks in Orlando?
Unfortunately, I have not.
What?
I know. Well, it's expensive, guys.
Well, I thought the show would at least do that for you. My goodness.
The show's a lot of fun, and it does get me into a lot of things that I probably normally wouldn't be able to get into. But as far as, like the Keys to the Kingdom or even behind the scenes tour in Epcot, these are things that I haven't quite made my way around to.
What have you seen, doing the show that normal people would not see that is just mind-blowing to you? Or we would find mind-blowing?
A lot of times the behind the scenes stuff, Banks kind of jumps on first.
Really?
Banks is a little bit territorial about the stuff he really wants to cover. Of course, then again, so I can be as well. Let's see. So I did do Mardi Gras behind the scenes floats. I'm trying to think, did I do anything with Disney? We do get the interviews. So that's cool. like I got to interview Ashley Eckstein and James Arnold Taylor during Star Wars weekends. Cool. And I've gotten to meet a lot of people, if you consider that behind the scenes.
Absolutely.
I got to interview Mickey Dolenz from the Monkees.
Oh, cool.
That was a biggie for me. Yeah, because he was playing at Flower and Garden Festival last year, their Flower Power series, concert series. Right. And then I've gotten to meet a lot of the home and garden people. I interviewed quite a few of those. So, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Very good.
That is.
Yeah.
What now? I know this is a Disney podcast for the most part, but give us an idea, like around Orlando. You've covered a lot of attractions around Orlando. What would be like a hidden attraction that nobody really thinks about going to that maybe people should check out while they're down there?
That's a good question. One of the reasons why I got picked to host the show was because I came in as a hardcore Disney fan that didn't do anything else. I was very, very exclusive and loyal to the Disney brand, and they thought that would be fun to bring in someone who hadn't really experienced everything else around Orlando. So, as far as the hidden attractions that I've covered, there's just some really, really cute places. There's a teeny tiny one that my children just loved. It was called Green Meadow Farms, and it's in Kissimmee, and it's just adorable. And you go, and it's very hands-on with the animals. So that was a fun one, not too expensive, off the beaten path. It has a very grassroots feel to it. I sincerely enjoyed that one. Legoland. I mean, Legoland's, again, a bit off the beaten path. You're going to have to drive a little bit of the ways, but if I'm going to say this from the perspective of a mom that has a son who loves Legos. This one was a hit. I think it's geared more towards younger children. I'm not sure that teenagers would really be all that into it, but my kids have definitely loved. They keep asking when we can go back, and I have to wait till the show sends us back, but that's definitely a good one as well. Fun Spot, interestingly enough, is a good one as well. Yeah, on iDrive. It's got quite the selection of rides, for the small attraction that it is. And if you like puke rides, that is where you want to go. That's like A+ puke ride central. And I was actually, when they took me there, I was a little bit shocked. I thought I was just going to be kind of going to this, little carnival type thing. Right. And while it does have a very carnival feel to it, the rides are pretty significant, but they are definitely, for the most part, they're the kind that are, make you question whether you should have eaten that hot dog before you went on the ride.
Is that the one that has the it looks like a bungee cord kind of swing thing? Is that the one I'm thinking of? Yeah.
Well, there are two Fun Spots here in Orlando actually, and both are great. But the one that I went to has the Sky Coaster, and I refuse to go on that. Banks keeps trying to talk me into it.
I saw. There's no way.
Can't. I tell him, I'm like, well, if you want to see a grown woman pee on herself on camera, then okay. But if we want to spare our viewers from this very, unappealing episode that you're planning here, maybe we should skip this one. You can stick to the Sky Coaster. They also have the Slingshot, but I believe that's in the Fun Spot, not the one on iDrive. So, I don't think I'm up to either of those. I do have a fear of heights. I try to keep it under wraps. I try to stay on top of it and not let it get the best of me. But the Sky Coaster is definitely going to get the best of me. Oh, and then there's this one for people who like to be scared. There are some of us out there. And Old Town has a haunted house that is open year-round. And I tell you what, that thing scares the crap out of me. I hope I didn't say too strong of a word there, but I get more scared in that haunted house than I do in Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios. I don't know. I think it's because it's more of a more of an isolated feeling. You know, when you go to the haunted houses at Universal, it's like this huge conga line that weaves through.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And so you've always got kind of people with you. In this haunted house in Old Town, you know, they take smaller groups in one at a time. And it's and rather than it being like this big set, you're taken in these rooms and you just feel so much more exposed. And so for scary fans, I'm definitely giving that one a thumbs up. And I'm going to give this one props right here. For those that want to go to a good dinner show,
Yeah.
I just started working at Capone's Dinner and Show.
Oh.
And that's on 192. And it's good. And if you go, ask for Moxie, because that's Moxie. That's my show name.
Oh, an alias. I love it.
All right.
Yeah, Moxie.
Now, do you perform in this?
I'm a server, and all of the servers are characters, not necessarily characters in the show, but we're characters. So you can come in and you ask for Moxie, that's me, and you get to see me do my gangster gig.
Wow,
That's
very
cool.
good.
Yeah.
That would be worth the price of admission, I believe.
I'm gonna make it that way anyway.
That's very cool, very neat. And that's on 192, huh?
That's on 192. It's a pretty good show. It's a 2-hour show. It's fun.
Very good. Very good. All right, so we're gonna pull you back into the Disney fold here, and real quick, I want to ask you a couple of things. One, how have you seen the new parade? I hear the new parade's fantastic.
I'm getting to see it next week on Monday. I'm going there and I'm covering that for the show. So I am very excited. We have Banks went and did a little bit of a preview, so we've got to see some of the costumes and a little bit of the floats, but I haven't seen it myself in person. That's coming up on Monday, and Matt offered that assignment to me. He said, would you be interested in doing this? I said, yes. Absolutely.
Anytime you can be in a Disney park, right?
Right, yeah.
That's very good.
And speaking of parades, we also Banks and I are going to be going back to Mardi Gras. I went and I covered Mardi Gras for Universal, got a little bit of a behind the scenes, look at that one. But we're going back again, and this time rather than watching the parade, we're going to get to be in it. So, we get to ride on one of the floats and throw the beads. So that'll be a fun experience that I'm looking forward to. And I have my fingers crossed. That maybe we get to be king and queen, but I don't know. We'll see.
That would be excellent. That would be excellent.
know.
Very good. What is your favorite park at Walt Disney World?
My favorite park is usually one that everyone else hisses. I love the Animal Kingdom.
All right.
I do. I know that it's hot, but I'm one that likes the heat. I'd rather sweat than be cold any day. So I don't really necessarily have a problem with that. I love being able to walk through those paths where you can see the animals. And I've gotten to do that special wild jungle trek, I think is what it's called. It's been a couple years since I've done it, but I got to do that one little tour where you hike and they take you back behind the scenes and you walk over the crocodiles and you stand over the hippos, and that was an incredible experience. I really loved that. And I think it's got some good rides. When I lived in Virginia and I didn't get to go to the parks as much, you tour the parks differently, when you're a local and when you're not a local. So when I lived in Virginia, it was go, 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 commando.
Right,
that was why the Disney Driven Life started. I called myself the Neurotic Disney Mom. And that was because when we went there, I was pretty neurotic. It was, from sun up to sundown, constantly on the go, cramming in as many attractions, shows, parades as you could in 24 hours. And that was great. We certainly had a few laughs about trying to do the parks that way. But now that I live here and I get to go often, I'm fortunate enough to be able to do that. I like to take it at a more leisurely pace. So Animal Kingdom is perfect for that. The crowds aren't as big and there's not as much ground to cover. And they still have, quite a few good rides. I love Dinosaur. That's one of my favorites. Obviously, Everest is an incredible roller coaster. So, and then you've got the animals. And who doesn't love Kilimanjaro Safari,
Right. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Avatar Land?
I'm actually excited about it. I know that it gets, people are cranky about it. I can't really understand why. I understand like it's, the movie isn't as followed as something like Harry Potter, but I feel like the concept fits really well in Animal Kingdom and also gives Animal Kingdom a new twist, rather than the standard, here's the animals, here's the rides. It kind of gives it more of a fantasy aspect to it. Mm-hmm. And the whole theme with the movie, being conservation, that I feel like that fits in perfectly with Animal Kingdom. So I have an appreciation for the creativity that was kind of put into this. Right. So, and the concept art looks really beautiful. I mean, have we ever seen Disney do anything that wasn't done well?
Right.
Exactly.
So, even like I said, even though Avatar might not have the following that some type of other blockbuster films have, I think they're going to pull it off. They could prove me wrong, but I think it's going to come out okay, and that maybe even the naysayers will change their minds. I'm hoping anyway.
I think so. I'm expecting we're going to be wooed.
I think so as well. That's my impression.
Yeah,
I hope I'm not disappointed.
They know we're expecting something big.
I think it's going to be visually impressive, minimally.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to touch on real quick. You mentioned real quick the Disney-driven life, and you're the Neurotic Disney Mom, number one.
Yes.
But you have started something since then. Do you want to explain?
Yes. Okay. So going back to the very, very beginning, even before I had my blog, I wrote a trip report. I was a member of the Diz podcast forums. Diz Unplugged has their forums, the Diz boards. And I wrote a trip report for it. But my trip report was written more like a book. I wrote it more like a novel. It wasn't just, well, we went here and we did this and we ate that. I told it as a story, and the story revolved around my character, who I called the Neurotic Disney Mom. And it was all about the things that I subjected my family to when we would go on vacations to Disney. We had certain rituals. And it was all about how I forced my family to do these things, whether they liked it or not. It was the whole like, you're going to do this and you are going to love it whether you like it or not, type of thing.
We're familiar with that. Yeah.
Yes. It's all that's what happens when you go on family vacation. That's what it's all about. So anyway, it turned out pretty funny, and you can actually still go back there. It's on the Diz boards. I believe it's also on Deb Will's forums as well. And people seemed to really respond to it. And I started getting messages. I'd put in an installment every day, so people were reading a little bit more of it, every day. It lasted a while. And people started responding it saying, I'm this person. I'm a Neurotic Disney Mom too. And, I'm a very playful person. And so as a joke, I just kind of said, oh, okay, well, I can be Neurotic Disney Mom number 1, and let's make you Neurotic Disney Mom number 2. And I made up this whole fancy induction ritual thing where, I hereby, name you by the authority vested in, pixie dust or whatever it was that I said, tinker, tinker, you're Neurotic Disney Mom number 2. Well, from there, I started getting requests from dads and then it was grandmoms. And then I had people saying, well, I don't have any kids, but I'm a Neurotic Disney person. I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess you can be a Neurotic Disney individual. And I realized that maybe there was something, when you start inducting 25 people a day, maybe there's something to this. So when I got my site, a very big part of my site was you could be counted. And I created the Neurotic Disney person roster, which is still up and running, and everybody can still, register for a number. We've got everything. We've got moms, dads, grandmoms, granddads, husbands, wives, kids, teens, individuals, and I eventually had to give in because a lot of people were saying, I want my pet inducted. So we have Neurotic Disney critters. We've got a few of those, So, if your dog is named Tinkerbell, or your cat is named Figaro, or, your goldfish is named Nemo, whatever, you can have them counted as well. There's well over 1,000 people on this roster at this point, and you can still see the traces of it on Twitter. I'm always so excited when I get a friend request or if somebody starts following me on Twitter, I check every single bio of people that follow me. And I love it when I go to the bios and I see listed in the bio NDM number 472 or NDD number 273 or whatever it is. And it's kind of a fun thing. Yeah, it's still up and going. Have you all been counted?
We will be when this show ends.
That's right.
Okay.
Is there a NDP
I'm going to tell Maria, who's running the gig right now. I'm going to tell her to be looking for those requests.
I am on the site right now. It says register for an NDP number. Be counted to become an official member of the Neurotic Disney community.
Yes.
That's the key word. If you want to be official, you need to have your number. And I'm going to bring you into the fold that way.
Ooh.
Oh, that sounds good.
Can we be Neurotic Disney podcasters?
Ooh.
That's a whole new column that would have to be made.
Oh, my goodness. Well,
you're not working hard enough. We're going to make you work.
That's right.
We'll talk to Maria about that one. Until then, register and get your other ND whatever number.
Absolutely. Sounds like a plan.
Absolutely. Before we let you go, what rumors have you heard? Have you heard anything that's coming down the Disney channels that you can let us in on?
Rumors. Banks is more of the rumors guy. He's more in the rumor mill than I am.
You know anything about the Polynesian thing?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't know anything about the Polynesian thing.
I've heard the waterfall in the middle of things going away, which has me mildly upset.
Oh, yes. I do believe that Banks covered something like that they're taking out the water gardens in the Polynesian. I didn't realize that was a rumor. I thought that was fact.
Oh, no.
But I know. It's terrible. Why would anybody do that? Sometimes I don't know what people are thinking.
Got to put a stop to that.
Yes.
I'm going to chain myself.
The first thing that stands out about the Polynesian is that water garden in the middle of the lobby. I feel like the Polynesian is going to lose its soul.
It's iconic. I don't understand.
I don't understand either. Boggles my mind. Do you know what's replacing it?
I don't know.
Have you heard that?
A water slide? I don't know.
Hey, you know what? Actually, that sounds kind of fun.
Water slide going all the way out to the pool. Oh my gosh.
It's probably just a queue for Ohana. You know, it's just going to be a winding back and forth queue.
Well, there's no reason for you to go there then.
Yeah, no, I did hear that. I thought that was actually a thing. I didn't realize that was a rumor, and I'm sad about it.
I think maybe I was just hoping it was a rumor and not really true.
I don't know.
Tear.
Banks, you need to talk to Banks about that. He's the rumor guy. I'm the fun one.
Well, yes, you are. What do you got coming up for your show?
I'm trying to get the show into Capone so that we can cover that as well. I'm not running the schedule. I just they say, hey, you know what is coming up? This is coming up, and I'm very excited about it. MegaCon. I'm going to be covering MegaCon, and I'm going as Jane Jetson.
Oh, nice.
Yes, and I do know since Disney announced their 24-hour event, we are hoping to be there, and I'm going to be coming in costume as Maleficent.
Oh,
ooh.
And I think our show is going to be trying to arrange a meetup so that viewers of the show, fans of the show, can actually hang out with us for a while. That should be kind of fun. So hopefully, I'll get off of work and that'll happen.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be a blast.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
JeniLynn Knopp, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome. It was my pleasure.
You can find her at Orlando Attractions Magazine, the show. Where else can they find you, JeniLynn?
I'm on Twitter as I'm JeniLynn. So that's the letter I, the letter M, JeniLynn. I'm also on Instagram as the same. And you can find me on Facebook as JeniLynn, JeniLynn. Knopp is spelled Knopp. And I just got on Pinterest as well.
Hey, before we let you go, I do have a question. I got one last question. I'm sorry, Tim, but I got one last question.
Go ahead.
I just friended you on the Instagram or whatever you do. I don't know what you do on Instagram. What is the deal? What is the deal with you holding the gun?
Oh, that was what we covered. That was so much fun. That was a great episode. We went to Hard Knocks in Point Orlando, and Hard Knocks is a laser tag place, but they're not your average laser tag place. They're kind of like, I want to say authentic. So like their weapons look like actual military weapons, and they put you in these settings where you feel like you're in some kind of back alley. You know, it's got like big tin barrels that you're hiding behind, and then another one of their rooms, it looks like you're in an office, so you're like ducking behind cubicles and under desks and things. That was a really good time. We brought in quite a few of our hosts. I think there was 4 of us, and then of course plus Banks because he was filming, and we ran around and did the laser tag thing. It was a hoot. So yeah, that was me being all like tough and
well, I got a little nervous, I got to tell you.
I really get into my roles when they give them to me. So
Tim, it looked like our normal commute to work up to Cleveland. You know,
Exactly.
where do you work?
Well armed. Well armed. We work in Cleveland. It's okay.
Yeah, it's all right. We're used to it. It's not that big of a deal.
JeniLynn, thank you so much. We really appreciate you coming on the show.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you so much. It was a great show. I enjoyed it a lot. Anything else, Bob?
That's all I got, Tim.
Oh, well, let's wrap it up then. You can find me on Twitter. I'm ResortLoop Tim. You can find me on, we have our little website over there, ResortLoop.com.
And I'm ResortLoop Bob on the Twitter. Don't forget to rate us on iTunes and Facebook /ResortLoop. And where else can they listen, Tim?
You can always find us on the Stitcher.
The Stitcher.
And give us a voicemail, give us a call, give us an open, area code 414.
WDW.
Loop. You've been listening to The Gateway to the Magic.
See you, everybody.